Hi everyone, it's Anna from Astralladytarot in Amsterdam. I just did a full 4 hours of tarot readings, feeling a little bit low energy, so it took quite a lot of out of me, but it was great. I had some really great clients, very interesting clients, and a strange experience which I may or may not share with you at some point. But today I wanted to talk about tarot spreads and whether you should stick to them or not. So far I have enjoyed having set spread positions for my readings because it highlights different aspects of the cards in those specific positions. And with that, it still allows the blending of depicted energies of the individual cards between the cards that have come up. Oh, I've totally lost the term for doing a reading without a spread. That's not freehand. That's not what it is it? Just, you know what I mean, a spread. No, not a spread, where you just do a reading, you just pull out some cards and you don't have set spread positions. I do that for clients sometimes, but only in like really strange cases where there isn't really a question, or there is a topic but we just don't know what it is. Oh, wait. Okay, so let me just give you the example I had today. For instance, there was a very nice young woman who wanted to know what it meant that she kept seeing these typical angel numbers. I've vaguely heard of that, when you keep seeing 1111 or you keep seeing 2222 on the clock or anywhere around you, and she just hadn't looked it up at all yet. And I told her, let's do that, you know, but that's just a great example. Actually, that's not even what gave me the idea for this video, but that's a great example of how are you supposed to do a spread. How do you determine what is light about it, what the shadow is? It's not even really, it's not a question, but we did explore it. We did just pull some cards and a whole thing came out of it where other topics were interwoven with this thing that's been happening to her lately. And it's actually pretty cool that she chose a tarot reading to do that, because tarot, of course, is all about that synchronicity, about that sacred coincidence, and I think synchronicity is very much what you can see in those numbers. Quite a few people have that. I also keep seeing 1111 on the clock sometimes, or with different numbers for different reasons. But whenever I see those types of angel numbers, by lack of a better term, I don't even really know what I'm talking about because I haven't looked it up yet either. But whenever I see those things, I take it as, okay, what I was thinking in that moment, it's a kind of a push to do that. It's kind of like a little game that you play with yourself and the universe, if you will, with your internal self and the external world, as in, maybe you can see them as messages, as spirit messages, or it's what you make of it. But it was fun to do that with a tarot reading. And believe it or not, it actually was helpful. I also like to pull cards when I read for myself without a topic in mind, without anything in mind, and just without a spread also, and just to see what comes up. So it is helpful, but I have found that doing it that way for yourself, and so I also think for someone else, doing it that way really makes it so that the more personal meanings of certain symbols or in every card comes up, and that very quickly makes the reading more personal, and it would ignore the more logical manner of obtaining the messages from the tarot system. So for clients, I do usually like to stick to a certain spread. A spread that works really well, where you can see, I most of the time I start off with 3 cards. You have shadow, light, advice, all of that stuff like put into it, and so I feel that works really well as a type of base. Although we are human beings, we are layered creatures, all individuals and all with our own individual experience of life. So basically what I'm saying is we're all different, in a sense. And therefore, I also feel that it's kind of impossible to use the same spread or spreads for everyone and have it being effective for everyone, or contain the same amount of helpful advice for everyone alike. As I said, everyone's experience is different, and so every situation is different, simply because it's viewed from another standpoint. So even I have seen this somewhere, but I don't remember where. Anyway, a good example in that is like, imagine two people standing right next to each other, looking at a table with a book on it. Well, the book will still be the same, but their experience of that object on the table is different, even ever so slightly, because they're standing right next to each other, but this person sees it from this angle and this person from a slightly different angle. So the object, the topic itself, the thing itself is the same, which in this case is the book on the table, but two different people, no matter how small, that nuance is there. So the book is the same, but their perception of it is different in every case. There's just no way of making that the same. And this is why I like to derive from my tarot spreads quite a bit, actually, when doing a face-to-face reading. I do put a lot of value in those spread positions, because for clients I like to read reversals and put the emphasis. The spread allows me to put the emphasis on the lighter and darker aspects of the card, or how does Crowley say that? Ill-dignified, or then dignified, I don't know. But you know, those different layers within the cards, because it's an energy, and an energy, you could easily say an energy is neutral until we make it something else, until we make it right or wrong, or right or left, or dark or light, or bad or good. So the thing itself, I think, would be neutral, but we make it something that we want or don't want. Because everyone is so different and every experience is different, and therefore there is no one true reality, you could say, I like to derive from my spreads after a while. I would say often I do start with those 3 cards, but then after a while I change it up. And actually I started this brainstorm with this statement, and I figured out or discovered that this is actually the reason why. This is the underlying reason why. Having different and unplanned ways of laying down the cards isn't only due to topics, like saying, oh, it's a different topic, it's a different spread, but rather different people, different experience. Hence the different reading structure. So why am I even talking about this? Because I put great value in having the set tarot spreads. It helps a lot in the nuances of my readings, but then at the same time I'm also okay with changing it up and making it all different. That is so typical that I should just write that down at some point for my channel and my message on here, if I can say it in that way, of like, I do have such a great love, you could even say, for this system, but then at the same time, because it's rules, I just don't mind throwing it all out and doing something completely free, because we need it. Wow, that was aggressive. No, but I'm inspired today. Yeah, there's a client who really inspired me. That's just another thing of when you read for others, you learn from them. And that's so cool. You learn from them in return. You learn from them as well. Anyway, back to the topic. So why do I change it up? Actually, it's, as I said, a little bit of a thing that comes naturally to me anyway, to like set my own rules and then break them. But actually, it's also very much to cater more to the needs of the different querents and their specific story. I do pause during a reading and ask them, how do you feel about this, about what I've just said? I do that after talking for a little while. It can be a little bit longer, it can be super short. After a little while where I think, okay, it would be nice to see a little bit of what are we talking about, because I also often get just open readings without questions. But at the same time also, if I've been talking for a while and I feel, well, that's the information that we can get out of it with the information that I have from these cards at this present moment, I do ask them, so how do you feel about this now? So basically that's if I feel that we've arrived at a certain point where I feel it would be helpful to get more cards. It's really not uncommon for me to pause and ask a question, as in, tell me what you would like to explore or explore more deeply after hearing this. And if they aren't sure, I have the option of simply continuing the spread that I have, because it's a 3-card spread that can be 4, 5 cards, 6, 7, 11 cards, and then not even included an extra action card or extra advice card or some type of conclusion card. It's a spread that you can just build out, and in different ways also. So that's my option of continuing this spread that I like. It kind of looks like a pyramid in the end. Then I also have the option of going more deeply, really under the surface a little bit, and I like to do that visually when the cards actually go down, like going down that Jungian spiral of going into the basement of your unconscious. And so I like to see that, and that's how we get more deeply into the work that they need to do or where it comes from. So there's that freedom in there. Or I take the initiative and just suggest to them, how do you feel about us diving a little bit more deeply into one of these things that have just come up in those initial first 3 cards. If they agree, then that's just another example of making an organic and a personalized reading for someone. And also that's just a personalized way, an organic way, in my opinion, to derive from the spread for that specific client, for their needs, and give a helpful reading. Yeah, already right when starting, I can feel my spread positions won't be as helpful in the specific case of this person sitting in front of me. Therefore, I have ways of guiding the reading, basically making a new spread right then and there in the moment. That really came from experience of doing face-to-face tarot readings, because you get to see what they would need, and also of course you hear back from them most of the time, if they answer honestly and openly, what they would like to find out more, what they would like to look into. Yeah, I think that truly this can not be anticipated. I do think it's so valuable to have a system, a kind of, a system that works for you, that you stick to, that you believe in, basically. But then also are able to adapt it in the moment, and be okay with that, because it is an art. It's not only a science, it's not only something that you learn, and it also is a tool, tarot. Tarot, yes, is something that you learn, is a form of knowledge, but the tarot deck itself is a tool, and we, the reader, are giving that tool life, are making it into something that it wouldn't be without us. Without us readers, a tarot deck would just be cardboard cards, would just be paper with drawings on them. Our minds, we make it into something that is extraordinary. And am I allowed to say that? That wasn't a compliment towards myself, that was just a compliment towards, well, not even a compliment, it's just a fact, really, that we humans have this brain and have this body, have this heart, and I do also believe have this soul. So yeah, that was more aimed at that more general thing of amazement, wonderment, right? So it did end up in a little bit of a rant. I hope I made my points clear and helpful, because that was the whole idea of this video, of making it helpful, and I hope that it is. Please let me know if something was unclear, or if it actually was fine this way and you can work with it, and or that it maybe gave you an idea, something like that. Again, I am reminding you, as I'm supposed to apparently, to subscribe to my channel, so please go ahead and do that. And share in the comments how you do readings, if you change it up like I do, or completely free. I still haven't thought of the correct term. Maybe you can actually help me out with that. Just to make it open and, again, organic. I guess that's a word that is important to me right now. I also said that in my last video, in one of my latest videos, of the readings and the learning and everything actually related to tarot, to be as organic as possible. After all, it's a perfect representation of everything, of anything that can happen in a human lifetime and beyond. Organic is the way to go, I guess. I love having conversations about this. Don't know if you can notice, but that's it for tonight. Have a great Saturday evening or Sunday, whenever this thing uploads. I'm going to make dinner now and have a quiet evening because I'm kind of tired. Okay? Have a good weekend. Oh, that's a nice lipstick stain. Why did I even just wipe that?